Welcome to Wrong Time Watch. My name is Kevin, and today we're looking at the Nodus sector lineup. Now I have 3 of the 4 watches of their current offering in the sector line. The one I don't have is the Nodus Sector Pilot. Those are available for sale now. I'll leave a link in the description to all 4 of these sector variations. So what we have here is the Nodus Sector Dive in Seafoam. Price for this is $475. Then we have the Nodus Sector Field, and this one is $450. And lastly, we have the Nodus Sector Sport, and this one is also $450. The dial color on this one is called Salmon, which is what I think it is as well, but my wife says it's a peach color. So salmon, peach, copper, take your pick. It's a cool looking dial color regardless of what you want to call it. And this one here I was calling purple, but according to the Nodus website it is redwood. So maybe it's maroon, maybe it's purple. I don't know. But I don't care for a round date wheel, but I do like the color of the date wheel. It matches that center circle instead of the perimeter. So that's pretty neat. And then we have the seafoam green. It's kind of a fume dial. It's lighter on the inside and then a little bit darker on the outside. And you can get this with the stainless steel or it's either ceramic or a DLC coated bezel. Like I said, I don't have that much time with these watches, so I haven't been able to size them. I wouldn't consider this a review, just a general overview or presentation of these watches. They all do use the same case. So I definitely appreciate that they have a rotating bezel and then a fixed bezel. 2 different types of fixed bezels. One day I'd like to have my own watch brand, so I really appreciate getting my hands on all these different watches and just gathering ideas in my mind of what I would do if I one day owned my own watch brand. We can all dream, right? Drilled lugs. This one is a brushed and polished case. This case is also brushed and polished. This one, of course, has a beads of rice bracelet. I really do like beads of rice. And then also H-link too. I'm a fan of H-link bracelets. They both have what I would call female end links. And these two have the knurled crown. Let's see, get this one out of the background. Look at this crown here. So it is a signed crown. If my camera will focus on it. There we go. Signed crown. And you can see the knurling here. And then the Sport has a little bit different crown. It has the typical kind of a crown knurling that I'm used to. But also this has this different kind of a stepped bezel to it. And all 3 of these do have the same crystal. This one just looks a little bit different because of the shallower and thinner bezel. You can see the chamfered edge on that crystal. And it is a flat crystal with a dome on the inside, or a dome on the underside. You also have AR coating applied to the underside of all these watches, that blue AR coating, which you can see right there. Let's see if we can see it with the green dial. Yeah, you can kind of see a hint of it there. So this one, the bezel is a little bit wider than the case. This is the 39mm bezel, and the case on all these is, well, the same at 38. So let's talk about the dimensions. We'll use this one for that. So 47mm lug to lug, 38mm case. And then, like I mentioned, the bezel on this is 39mm, so it overhangs the case just a little bit, which is a great touch. I think all dive watches should have a bezel slightly wider than the case, or at least have the case subset below so you can get an easier grip on the bezel. It's kind of a interesting edge to the bezel here. It's kind of a coin edge bezel, but it has that center groove going through it, similar to an SKX. All right, let's go over the dimensions, rest of the dimensions. 12.7mm thickness on all 3 of these. And you might ask, well, this is a dive watch. It should be thicker to get more water resistance, but they're all rated to 100 meter of water resistance, and they all have a screw down crown. So it's called a dive watch, but really it's more of a dive style watch. And you see right there on the dial, it says 100 meter water resistance. They also, all three have different handsets as well. We'll bring them over in a moment. So through the rest of the dimensions, 47 lug to lug, 38 case, 12.7 thick, 20 millimeter lug width, and that does taper down to 18. So it's the same taper on all of these, whether it's the Beads of Rice bracelet or the H-Link bracelet. And this one here is bead blasted with a hint of polishing on the chamfered edge there. Yes, the case is bead blasted as well. You see that here side by side. I do like the look of a bead blasted case, but I'm not sure how it holds up with scratch resistance. A brushed case I think is a little easier, or a brushed bracelet I think is a little easier for you to touch up yourself using a Scotch pad. Bead blasting, I'm not quite sure how you would fix that yourself. So the clasps are the same, different finishing. Now this is a milled clasp, but a little bit different than what I'm used to. It has a solid center here, and then this just indexes inside of that, and it's held in place by these dual pushers here. No safety clasp. You don't really need it with these pushers. I don't see this coming off your wrist. And you do have 3 micro adjust on here. Looks like they could have squeezed in one more micro adjust, but 3 should be fine. Yeah, so I really appreciate the variation that they've done here with these watches. Let's set these side by side and we can zoom in and just take a look. The different hands here. So I like this broad arrow hand. Looks like the minute hand is the same on all 3 of them. The field dial, of course, has the white hands. Field dial has a military scale in the center there. The field watch you can get with and without the date. I would go without date. So this has the NH35 movement, and then the pilot watch, which I don't have, comes with the NH36 movement, and it has the day and date down here at the bottom. It's a pretty cool looking watch, and it has a rotating bezel as well. I think it's bidirectional. I don't really know. I'll leave that again in the description. These two have the NH38 movement, a true no date movement. So let's test that out. Yep, so first position we are in hand winding, if I can find it. Oh, crown wants to screw down. There's the handset. There we go, there's hand winding. Wanted to go back into the screw down position, I guess. Okay, it's working fine now. Let's push that back in and screw it down. I'll put all these on wrist as well. I'll just kind of hold it in place since I couldn't really size the bracelets. Hand winding, and then time set. These all do have signed crowns. 316L stainless steel, of course. A weight with the full bracelet is 160 grams, and then just the watch head itself is 75 grams. And they all do have Swiss Superluminova T-C1 X1 grade lume We'll check that out in just a moment here. I think I mentioned it already, but to show you, they all three have quick release bracelets here. Here's a look at the case back with the 4 circles. I think it represents the 4 different variations of the Sector watch, Sector series. So what does that say there? It says designed and assembled in Los Angeles. So that's a nice touch for sure. And then the Beads of Rice also does have a quick release. It's pretty neat how they did this. I wouldn't have expected it that would fit, but it does fit. There's your quick release pins right there. So let me put these on wrist. I'll stay up close. Now maybe I'll zoom out for each of them. Go back to one-time zoom. Yeah, this is a great 38 millimeter. I think is a great size for 6.5-inch wrist. I wish Rolex would make a 38 millimeter watch instead of 36 and then the 41. It'd be nice if they had something in between. But I guess the 41 is really 39.5. But that's a story for another day. All right, let's zoom out here. Yeah, cool watch. So one benefit of not having to size the bracelet is just slide them on and off wrist. Kind of like a bracelet or something, I don't know. But anyway, here we go with the salmon dial. The bezel is a little thicker than I would like, but it's not too terribly thick. Prefer something with a little bit of a thinner bezel. And let's go with the field, and then I'll zoom back in with this one. Yeah, I really like the look of the bead blast. It almost looks like titanium in a way. Kind of like the shiny bezel on this. Gives it a little pop of, well, shininess, flashiness, whatever. A little odd for a field watch, though, to have the brushing and then that shiny bezel. So let me know what you guys think of these watches. And while you're by the comment section, please subscribe if you have not already subscribed. I greatly appreciate it. And like the video, it helps out a lot. Okay, let's bring this side by side with the SKX. And since it's a 38, I think I have my 13 around here somewhere. Actually, the lug to lug on this would be the same as the SKX, but the diameter is a little bit smaller, 3 millimeter. Actually, 4 millimeters smaller in the case, but then 3 millimeters smaller by the bezel. There it is. SKX 013 aftermarket bracelet and bezel insert. Yeah, this looks a lot smaller than the Nodus here, but the bezel is quite a bit smaller too. It's inset of the case. I believe the case on this is 38. So the bezel makes quite a bit difference on how the size of the watch appears. Also, the SKX is about a millimeter thicker, but this is a true diver 200 meter water resistance rating. Okay, I think I've concluded the main portion of the video, so let's go ahead and pause the video and we'll check out the lume on these. I might try and throw the SKX in here, but I don't think it'll fit. So we'll just look at these 3 Nodus Sector watches. All right, so here is a look at that Swiss Super Luminova C1 X1 grade lume. Well, I threw in the SKX at the top there, and I'm kind of happy I did because the lume on these watches doesn't really compare to the SKX lume. Kind of surprising. I thought it would be a little bit brighter with that Super Luminova T-C1X1 grade, but this is what it is. I don't really buy watches for lume anyway, but if it's something that is really important to you, I guess you can see how bright it is here. All right, well, that will conclude today's video. As always, thank you for taking the time. Thank you for watching, and please hit that subscribe button on your way out.